Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. As always, 6 albums to go through. One album did change for another album. I'll get to that near the end of the video though, because it's the last album I have to talk about. So let's go through the 6 albums we have. We begin with Alice Cooper and their new album, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. I say their not because Alice has suddenly changed his pronouns, but because this isn't Alice Cooper the person, this is Alice Cooper the band, whose first album gets in 52 years. Gets a D-. I fucking hated this. Mostly because I'm not sure why it needed to exist. The pacing is horrible, first of all. If the songs were what they are, mostly, which is just shock rock with no urgency and it's very by the numbers, that would be fine. But I'm pretty sure that most of the riffs are just ripped off. I'm not kidding, there's a song here called Money Screams, and I'm pretty sure the main riff is just a rip-off of the Clash's variant on I Fought the Law. Like, it sounds exactly the bloody same. It's not the only song that does that either. And I guess the band are kind of alright. I mean, Alice can go. I'll always give the credit in the world to him because he's still a good storyteller, but everyone else feels just kind of there, and it doesn't feel like anyone else is really giving a shit besides Alice. I'm also not a big fan of the lyrics. I feel like there could have been a narrative and a good story to tell because Alice himself is a good storyteller, but there's really dated dad humour, dumb sex references and dick jokes, and it just feels like the relic of the past that I'd rather leave in the past. And again, first album in 52 years, bloody door, it feels like it in some places, and that is one of them. Production, I guess, is maybe my favourite part of the album. It actually polishes things quite a bit, but also doesn't add anything, and it's more offensively bland. You know, it's like, it's a biteless sort of style of mixing, and instrumentation I guess is also okay. I do have respect for the riffs on display and I like the solos, but god damn, it is plodding and trudging, and you know, you expect shock rock to be exciting and the instrumentation here just isn't. So yeah, all in all, not great stuff, and it's a good thing I don't do worst albums of the year because this album would probably be on that list. But also, can Alice do his own solo stuff now again, please? Next we have The Dirty Null with The Lash. This is my second album by them. I completely missed the album they dropped back in 2023, but I did listen to their 2021 album Fog Arts because it's got a cute picture of a dog on the cover. This one doesn't, but it's also my highest rated album of the video with an A-. I was actually quite surprised by that. I like the instrumentation. This is a sort of what I call here alternative rock with a pop-punky / more punk rock sort of lean, but the instrumentation is really bloody good. They match the styles, and also it's just a lot of fun, and I'm surprised that they were able to keep that fun up because there's only 2 members. I think there is a session bassist who I think recently left. I don't know, like the timeline on Wikipedia is completely like bugged up, so I can't really tell who's been there and when and where. But singer guitarist Luke Bentham is a good frontman. He's got charisma, and it's clear that he's having fun, as is the band's drummer. You know, like everyone, all 2 people having a good time. I like it. I do like the lyrics as well. They have a really good reflective theme of being unable to let go of the past, and there's a good amount of honesty and some really good, like, little bits of humour to the writing that add to that honesty. I like it when an album is, like, funny, but, like, not in an overtly loud in your face kind of way. Pacing's really good too. It's got really good fast pacing on some songs, but I wanted the album to have more time to experiment. I think it's the shortest album of this video with 29 minutes 50 seconds. And a few of the songs are a bit too short. It maybe could have been done with more songs because I think the songs as they are, as short as they are still really good. But I wanted a bit more from like what they were able to experiment with, and I feel like they don't get as many chances to lean into it as they want. And also I quite like the production. I like the detailing, even if the reverb does feel a bit overused, but it's still quite organic for what it does, and it's got some pretty good editing in some places. So yeah, weirdly I'd recommend this album the most from my video. I did like Fuck Arts, but I can't remember retaining much about it that I did enjoy. I just remember enjoying it. But I significantly like this one a lot more. Next we have an Australian folk trio called Folk Bitch Trio, and their debut album. By the way, first of 3 debut albums, 3 debuts we have in this video. But this one is Folk Bitch Trio with their first album, Now Would Be a Good Time. I'm giving it a B. I think my main problem might be the pacing, because it is very languid. Right, in a vibe sort of way, yes, but it can feel a little bit slow, and I wanted the core sound of the really good indie, folky, rocky stuff to cash in more, and it can drift a bit. But it does have a unique take on the style, because one thing I like about the instrumentation is that it's not just like some really well structured indie folk, but also there's like a subtle gothy undercurrent, and I wanted them to lean into that more, because it fucking works. There is also really good lyrical themes of relationship troubles in your early 20s, and I relate as a man in my 30s, but there's some good honesty to that writing. I do feel like it could be a bit more consistent in some spots, but it was still really good. I also like the production as it's weirdly comfy. Produced by Tom Healy, he does a good job. Yeah, it can be hard to hear the instrumentation at times. The vocals do feel like they take precedent, and it is a bit odd into style mixing because I want to hear the instrumentation more because there's really nice guitar work, but I can't deny the vibe it sets out. And I like the band members as well. I don't know who does what exactly, but whoever did the lead vocals, good job to them. They did probably the best job. But yeah, I like pretty much everyone here. And it was just a comfy and sort of unique take on the style, and I hope that they get to lean into it more for next time. Next, we have Joyner Lucas with his new album, ADHD 2. I was unaware that it had a sequel, and I don't know if I should be worried because I don't have ADHD, but I'm a bit concerned. Giving this one a B+, I believe that's the rating I gave it. Yes, I did, I was just double checking. It's a really good bit of rap though. I will admit, I like the themes of mental health and Joyner detailing his growth over time. He's got really good multis and really good lines and good punchlines. But I so badly wanted this to be a concept album about his mental health journey specifically, because there are a few songs of him just like doing the braggy rap stuff, which I'm so tired of hearing when it comes to an album that could have been a concept thing. But yeah, I also appreciate that it doesn't try to be a concept album, and it isn't listed as one, because if it was, I think it would have the same problem that Eminem's last album did, which I do mention in my written review, because, that was also a concept album that made no sense to make, and also blew chunks. Let's focus on the positivity though. I do like the pacing. I actually quite like the skits that lean into the storytelling, and there's a really good mix of styles. It's mostly East Coast hip-hop focused, because that's where Joyner's from Worcester, Massachusetts. I believe that's the East Coast. I don't know American things. But, again, like, the braggy songs can hurt the consistency, but it's still got good consistency, and when Joyner's leaning more into his emotional phase, it's really good, and Joyner himself is a really good rapper. He's probably the standout on the album, which makes sense because he's kind of the only person on it, but there are guest stars, and I like most of them, but why is Chris Brown on the closer? I get that Chris Brown is talented, but also, we're never forgiving him for the horrible shit he did. I mean, I'm not. He can just piss off. I would like him to piss off. And, he's on the closing song, the actually really good closing song. Not my favourite song of the album because he's on it, but if he wasn't, it probably would be, titled Mama. It's a really good closer. You didn't need Chris Brown on it though, Joyner. You didn't. I also like the instrumentation. There's some really good East Coast vibes, and there's a good amount of cleanness to the beats, and there's, it's just a good mix. And I actually quite like the light breezy feel. I wish it leaned more into the trap sort of style though. It does that a couple of times on the album. It's still fun when it does pop up though, but I like that it's mostly just clean, straightforward, and thorough. I appreciate that. And also like the production as well, excuse my hair. Yeah, there is a whole shitload of people on it, and Joyner Lucas wasn't one of them, sadly. But it's got good processing, and, usually when different producers work on different songs, it usually turns out well. So yeah, it all meshed quite well, and they all did a really good job on this album. So yeah, all proper good stuff, this. So this is one of the last two debuts I'm covering, and it's a bit odd because it is a debut. It's a band called Nefarious with their first album, Addicted to Power. However, the people in the band have been in the thrash scene since the 80s. Most of the people in the band are in their 60s, right? But it was still a really good thrash metal sort of thing. I didn't really listen to, or I don't think I listened to any of the bands I used to be into, but I'm giving this one a B. I thought it had some really good instrumentation, first of all. It's some pretty good thrashy bits with really good guitar, nice drumming. I like the guitar solos that we get too. I wish there were a few more of them. I actually quite enjoyed the lyrical themes as well, which is not something I find myself doing in thrash metal. There's a good theme of the, politics and war, and how the world right now is pretty fucked. I could do with albums not leaning into that a lot, but it works well enough for the style, and it's, fittingly misanthropic in some places. Production's also quite good. It's got a good raw feel, but I did want some elements to be tightened up in some parts. It is a debut, so I will give the benefit of the doubt, but also I shouldn't, because this is people who've been involved in the thrash scene for like 4 decades, so they should sort of know how this works by now. But I will admit the band performances are really good as well. I'm not sure entirely who did what, but like guitar was really good, lead singer was really good too. I like his sort of like high growl, I would call it. Really good work there, and lead guitarist did a bloody great job. Holy hell. I wasn't huge on the pacing though. The album feels very familiar early, it can get really predictable early too, and doesn't vary a whole lot. Although one thing I did want to point out, like unintentionally, so my favourite song is the closing song called One Nation Enslaved, because it is a really good closer with good attachment to the themes. But I also liked that on the Bandcamp page, it's misspelled because the word nation is the A missing, so it's just One Nation Enslaved, and that makes me laugh because I'm a child. Yeah, it's half of why it's my favourite song, but also it's a really good song. And yeah, this was pretty good stuff from a group of people who clearly know what they're doing. So if you're into a sort of pseudo supergroup, I'd recommend giving this a go. And to close off last week, the last debut, and that thing I alluded to earlier as well. So one of the albums I did say I was going to cover was the new Gwar album, right? But that album only has 3 songs. The rest of the songs are just live versions of other songs they've done, and also there's a comic book. And I'd like, if it's not worth it. So this album, Psycho Frame's Salvation Left on the Face of a Grieving Mother, was pulled up from my catch-ups, and a friend recommended that I give it a spin, so I thought I would, and I'm giving this one a B. I'm fully aware it's the most anticipated album in this video to like my audience of 0 people watching. But here I will get to my thinking, right? I'll get to my reasoning. So, I like the instrumentation. It's really fucking heavy. The guitar work is great. Drumming is great. And I like that there appears to be good electronic elements. As I like initially coined in my head when I first spun this thing, is it feels a bit like what Darko does, but actually better than what Darko does in some areas. There's good technical stuff as well. I didn't hate it. Performances are also great. Well, Coulter Adams is a really good vocalist. He's got this amazing growl, and he's his screams are good, but like his lows are probably his best weapon, and I like how much he uses them. It's really good stuff. Production's also solid. There's a good organic feel, even if it can feel a tad overly compressed. And lyrics also, I didn't hate. I couldn't really find themes, but also I found it to be weirdly, as much as I liked how straightforward it was also a bit too depressing and way too self-serious that it made me like laugh a little bit at times, because like it felt like something that wasn't in on its own joke. It's like not in a sort of piss-takey way, but it's sort of like playing up the series too much that you sort of have to laugh, like that sort of thing. We're not really big on the pacing though. A lot of the songs felt interchangeable, and yeah, it doesn't really push the boundary that people claim, and this is my main problem with the album, not the album itself. I know this is like from members of Mood Ring and other bands, and I've not checked out Mood Ring. I think I covered the last album, I'm not really sure. I don't remember if I liked it. But this is my main problem with it, it's not the band's fault. It's the fact that I saw so many reviews when this album dropped that say it rewrites the script for deathcore. It fucking doesn't. I mean, it does a good job of sticking to the script well enough, and hence the B grade I've given it. But like, I didn't feel anything towards it. It's one of those cases where like I get why people enjoy it, even if it can't fully escape its own tropes. But I saw so many people like giving this album more praise than it deserves. I think it's good, but it does not rewrite the script, and it doesn't escape itself nearly enough. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's the record label, because Sharptone are usually pretty good. It was produced by one of the band members, Hunter Young, so I'm not sure exactly what went wrong, but it feels like there's something sort of a bit corporate about it that I think stops it from getting a higher grade than it does. And, lyricism doesn't help either, or the pacing, but like, if you want some just good heavy deathcore, I can recommend it, but if you're expecting the deeper things that people are saying that are there, they're really not, or at least not from what I heard. And of all the albums I listened to for the past weekend, I listened to this one the most, to see if I missed anything, and no, it's good, but not great. And not as great as other people are saying it is. I did like it, but I didn't love it. Next is favourite album cover and favourite song. I will admit favourite album cover does go to Psycho Frame. It just looks really fucking cool. It looks like a really good deathcore album cover. And I like the sort of like fleshy, missy face on the dude, and it's got really good colours because, you know, like good centre red with like a sort of purpley blue background. I really enjoy it, and also good placement of the band logo. That's really, really good stuff. Favourite song goes to Listen to My Demo from Joyner Lucas's album. Really great bit of storytelling, and the second to last song on the album, probably should have closed it because it doesn't have fucking Chris Brown on it. God, that will actually piss me off for maybe another hour. I don't know. But yeah, probably my favourite song from the album. And also, not doing my listening list for next week because I've got to go around and get my albums for August to listen to. So that'll about do it. I'll likely see you tomorrow for the return show of PVW vs AVW, and then maybe on Saturday for more Yakuza Like a Dragon Inc. As always, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.